Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I'm so happy that you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 45. Keep doing the things. So, basically, bottom line message here is that sometimes we don't know when our consistent, repeated effort is going to pay off. And there's going to be a lot of times when we're doing our consistent, repeated effort and are feeling like we're going nowhere and treading water and not going to, make any traction or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, boom, traction. The problem with life is that we never know when that moment is going to be. And so if something is important to us, we really just need to keep doing the things, right? Consistent, repeated action, you know. And here's why I want to talk about that. So, as you know, I broke my knee. And I started physical therapy a couple of weeks ago. And one of the fascinating things about when you have your leg straight for several months is that when you get permission to bend it, it doesn't want to bend. And that's the result of just, inactivity, scar tissue, all kinds of stuff, right? And so when, I was at the doctor and she told me to bend, and I said, well, can I bend in front of you? And she said, sure. And so I kind of put my leg, sort of dangling in the air, and it went, bent, I don't know, about a 10-degree angle, 12 degrees at the most. Certainly not the 90 degrees that we were wanting, right? Because that's where I got permission to bend my knee up to 90 degrees. And I was like, okay, no worries, because this is like literally the first second of bending it, no problem. Well, after going to physical therapy for a few times, the progress wasn't amazing. And I was doing, I'm doing my exercises. I'm, trying to make this work. Being the good patient, doing all the things. And, over this past weekend, I was really getting frustrated because, there's a point, right, in the middle of a lot of difficult things that take consistent, repeated action. There's often a moment where you're like, you know what, am I ever going to reach my goal? Am I ever going to be able to do this? Like, is this ever going to happen for me? And I think that a lot of us feel that way. And so I really wanted to just encourage everyone, if that's sort of where you're at, to just keep going. Because again, you don't know when you're going to get that breakthrough. And as I mentioned, I was feeling so frustrated over the weekend. I was like, you know what? Oh my gosh, my knee needs to bend. Like, bending is a big deal. I really want to get back to driving, want to get back to my regular life. Like, I'm going to need to bend my knee if I'm going to go back to my regular activities. Like, it just was being very stubborn and, you're not sure, right? Like, how much longer is this going to take? There's no specific timeline for anything like this. And anyway, so I was inside my head about this whole thing and just really feeling discouraged, and not to the point where I stopped doing my exercises, but to the point where I was like, is this even worth it? Is this even like, and of course, intellectually, that's ridiculous, right? Because you're not going to accomplish whatever you want to if you stop doing your consistent, repeated behaviors. And so I knew that I needed to not quit, but you can get inside your head sometimes and really want to. So this morning I went to physical therapy and my knee bent way more than it had in any other time. And I was feeling so happy. And I was like, okay, this is why I'm, continuing to work really hard and trying to be, the perfect patient, even though, of course, no one is perfect. But, regularly doing my exercises and doing what my physical therapist wants me to do, because I really am going to be able to bend my knee. And oh my gosh. And so that was really helpful because once you do get a little bit of traction, then the momentum can help carry you forward. And obviously, I'm using my knee as a very specific example in my life, but I think this applies to so many things. We have a goal that takes a lot of repeated, consistent action in order to win, in order to be successful. And there's going to be times when we're going to want to quit because we're not seeing the traction as quickly as we thought, or we're wondering if the traction is ever going to even happen, if success is ever going to, be in the future for us. And there's that moment so often in life. And it's so important just to do it a few more times, right? Because often that moment, that plateau moment inside our brain is right before we're going to get some traction. And so that's the moment where we just need to not quit. We just need to say, you know what? Yeah, I am not making the progress that I want. I am really, 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 really frustrated. And I'm not sure if this is going to happen. But this is something that I have chosen that and said that I want for myself. And so I'm going to persevere, a while longer and see if I can get some momentum and see if I can get some traction. And, I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to do the thing, right? And try to take all of the brain stuff out of it and just be like, okay, this is something that I'm just going to keep going on. And so often that's the point where you really start to see some traction and momentum. And then the momentum can carry you forward a little bit more. And then obviously, ultimately, you can accomplish your goal. Just like ultimately, I am not there yet, but I will be bending this knee and doing all the things that I want to do with my knee and my leg. And, being a fully, you know, having my leg be fully functioning like it was before. So I hope this is helpful, and I'm incredibly curious is if you have had any similar situations in your life where you're just like, man, this is not even working. It's not worth the effort. I just am exhausted doing these things. I'm not seeing, the results, and I just want to quit. But you didn't, right? And you kept going a few more times, and you started to see some results, and it helped you motivate you to keep going. um, I think this is an important thing for all of us to remember. Frustration is part of the journey. Feeling like you're not making traction is part of the journey so often. And we just got to go back to the beginning, right? When we made the goal and remember, hey, this is something I really want. This is something that's really important to me. And I have decided that this thing repeated over time is going to get me there. And I have to just keep doing it. So let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've experienced this, if this resonates with you, if, you're tired of hearing about my knee, which I am sure you are, because frankly, I'm sure everyone in my life is. So I promise no more knee updates until it's fully functioning. How about that? I will, pinky promise to not use this as a talking point again. But I am hopeful that you are having a fabulous week. Your December is off to a great start. And you've planned your beautiful December, and things are going really well. And you're being productive in the places that you want to be and letting the rest go. Remember, we are handled-ish. We are not perfectly productive or perfectly anything in all categories, because that's just not how humans are wired. If you want to reach out on social, I'm on, I think, just about everything at Betsy Hays, BetsyHays. I also have my website, betsyahays.com. Don't forget the A. And please tune in next week for another episode of Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect. In the meantime, please take care. And remember, you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me. Take care.